This video is brought to you by the No Fear community.
Mark Mueller-Eberstein is the founder and CEO of AdTech and best-selling author, and also the co-author of No Fear. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you very much, Antti. Pleasure to be here today.
What can you tell us about your background?
Well, I'm born and raised in Germany, lived there until my late 20s, and then moved over with Hewlett-Packard at that time to the United States. Got to experience Boise, Idaho, the headquarters of HP's printing business, where I managed relationships with SAP and Oracle on a global scale. There's a couple of collaborations between those companies, acquisitions, licensing deals for HP. Really enjoyed the time, learned a lot, and then got hired away to Microsoft into the Seattle area. And that's my home since the early 2000s.
With such a colorful background and so many different roles, what are the main things you have learned about leadership?
Well, I think leadership has changed, or the expectations of leadership has changed a lot over the years. A lot of people get confused management and a management role with true leadership. What makes a leader is not the title. It is the inspiration and the directions they can give to the people that want to follow them. If we see this, I think what intrigued me so much about No Fear and the collaboration with Pekka was really this joint understanding that we have, that the digital generation does not have to follow, but they decide to follow and who to follow and the way they follow and engage and interact with each other and with their customers and the organizations they are working with.
Is that also what your previous book, Agility, was about?
Antti, Agility was my first book. Just after I left Microsoft and before I founded AdTech, I was in the process of doing a lot of research on what technology does for businesses. There was a book in the early 2000s called Does IT Matter? And I was always wondering, because I was working a lot with large organizations from across the globe in my career at Microsoft and HP. And then with AdTech as well, I said, what impact does IT have? And is this really the game changer that we thought? At Microsoft, I had the opportunity to look at data sets for 15,000 different organizations, look at their maturity and IT capability. And together with researchers from MIT, Boston University, we said, is there something in it? And yes, we found it. I think IT became really a very good predictor of organizational agility and the agility of business, what businesses can do. So what we did with agility was really to say, what is the role technology can play for organizations, how to prioritize, how to make sure you focus on the right things. You're not following the latest trend or the latest fashion, but really understanding what's responsible leadership from an organizational perspective and utilization of technology means. We wrote this down, a lot of these findings that we have presented over and over the years. We got asked, write it down. That's what we did with Agility. And it actually made it to one of the top 20 books on business decision making today. So we're really excited about it, and it was a great starting point for the collaboration with Pekka on No Fear.
Are books still a good way to spread new ideas in the age of 24/7 communications?
I think there's still one way that books have been around for thousands of years. And because they are permanent, they really force you to crystallize your thinking, to structure it. And they're usually a team effort as well. So you have the opportunity to really drill deep, vent your ideas, work out for yourself, but also for the people that are going to be the reader, what works for them, and get it out in a very condensed form. It's not the only way, of course, to disseminate information today, to engage with people. There's the one-on-one communication, there's social networks, there's blogging, there's interviews like we do right now that are then distributed across the world. It's interesting to see that my interviews are posted somewhere in China and India. And the word, if it's out, it goes everywhere. And those are definitely interesting experience. But the books themselves and book publishing themselves is really still a way to have something in your hand where you can say, this has been a while, this has been the best thinking of a lot of people, and on whose shoulders you build on top of. And it's definitely keeps its value, at least for a while. Of course, technology goes on, but I think if you find the key ideas and the key concept behind it, they transcend longer than 6 months or a 1-year cycle, that's for sure.
Many authors say that the main point in writing a book is learning yourself. What did you learn while working on No Fear?
That's a very good question, Antti. I think you are, as I said earlier, it's absolutely right. It's a thought process you put together when writing a book. Working with No Fear, what was so unique in that process was the variety of people we were able to bring together, the variety of perspectives that brought their thoughts on leadership, on the development of leadership, on organizational development, and especially the impact the next generation of technology and people, and the people that are formed by technology will have on organizations and on societies. Working with people from Russia, with Alex Lin from China. It's a great example. As CEO of China Value, we actually knew each other from one of the worldwide collaborations around IT leadership. Getting them to know in a different way, pondering ideas, sharing ideas, having different perspectives, but looking at it in a way that brings out a consolidated picture, and then formulating it and sharing it with the world is a very, very interesting process that is truly exciting.
No Fear talks about the PlayStation generation, those born after 1985. How are they different from different terms used previously, such as millennials or Generation Y?
That's one of the things we started to think about heavily. How do we call those people? The people that are coming into the workforce right now, or even just before there, what makes them so different? And of course, traditionally, we have looked at these 10-year intervals of generations, Generation Y starting starting at 1990s, 2000s, the millennials. And we thought that is kind of not correct, because we think the people that grew up in a way that they do not remember a world where there was no mobile communication and not an internet to answer questions, to reach out, to connect with other people. It's a very, very big turning point. We realized, born in 1980, it's a little bit too early. Born in 1990 is a little bit too late. So we found 85 being actually the sweet spot where that transformation happened. I mean, I have children. I have a 16-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter, but, who are both digital cowboys. It's interesting to see them growing up and explain them the concept of encyclopedia. So when I grew up, I got one as a young child. It went with me to my whole school time. It was the first book or the first area I looked at when I had a question. They intellectually understand it, but they don't really understand why you don't just look at your device or your computer and find out an answer or a multiple of answers, finding what suits your question both, compare them, find differences. It's a very, very different approach of how these young people, it's really dating me myself now, but how they perceive the environment, how they engage, and how they leverage technology for their environment. Booz Consulting, I think they had an interesting article just the other way about the Generation C, and actually they looking at it as the same age range, 1985 as well. So PlayStation generation, Generation C, that seems to be the right term.
In the book, you write about technology and how the PlayStation generation demands cutting-edge technology and new services in the workplace, same things they are used to in their personal life. Is this the same phenomenon as what is known as shadow IT?
Shadow IT, Antti, is a word that has been used by the IT organizations themselves, a little bit derogatory for many, many years. It's basically people setting up their own server, because putting it somewhere under the desk and running the applications they needed out of control of the central IT organization. Business IT organizations took it a little further, formalized it. No, I think what we're talking about is something different. The key word here is called consumerization. What we see the first time in a massive way is that IT has become so easy, so transparent in the usage, so simple in the usage, that it goes through all works of life. It goes across generations now. It goes across geographies. It goes across social levels, where people are connected. They have their mobile devices, but it's not only the devices, it's the applications and the services in the backend that really connect them, that connects them with the information, the expertise, the social environment they are just a part of, and it becomes part of their life. There's no real differentiation anymore between me as a private person at my house, as a friend, as a part of a social engagement, and and I want to bring this to my work environment as well. Why should I be better connected with people I've worked with 10 years ago than with the people I'm working with today? So I'm having these experiences, connectivity experiences, the mobile experience, I'm bringing this with me, and I'm expecting it just to work in my corporate environment of today as well. And of course that creates a huge, huge challenge for IT organizations that have traditionally very much focused on standardization, operationalization, cost reduction and security, and now they have this myriad of different devices, different services that people use in different ways. So how to pull all of this together? And that's a very, very interesting discussion that is happening right now. So in my work with EdgeTech, we're working a lot with CIOs, and they often bring us in to facilitate a discussion between their department and the leadership of departments like HR, finance, marketing, sales, to see what can they do together, because the salespeople come in with their latest gadget and say, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm using, why are you not supporting it for my data here? Well, a lot of smart organizations going that way and leveraging that enthusiasm of the employees for the workplace as well.
Studying digital cowboys, what have you personally learned, and how has it changed the way you personally work?
For me, I said it's really the speed and the complete dedication the digital cowboys bring to this new world. As we said in the book, and Becca said it earlier, there's digital natives and digital immigrants, and as passionate I am about technology, I can still remember my Commodore 64 my first programs in BASIC, learning Pascal. I feel I'm very, very much connected to the IT industry from an early age. My first business was in that area. I usually tell people I grew up on the CeBIT, the largest trade show in the world. When I was about this size, I was running around there. So I feel very connected to the digital world, but I'm still a digital immigrant. The people that are growing up right now, they have it ingrained. It's part of their DNA nearly, the way they work, the way they collaborate, the way they make connections, and it's stunning to see how much the world has changed around them already, and it's mind-boggling to even think about what's happening the next 5 or 10 years.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Antti, it's a pleasure talking with you, and looking forward to continue the conversation around these topics with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
This video is brought to you by the No Fear community.